Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Short Game Long Talk with one of your hosts, me, myself, Eric.
And your other host, me, myself, Jess.
Thank you for riffing with me on my terrible intro there. Welcome to this episode. We are playing a game called Limbo, which I think on average takes about 3 hours, maybe 4 tops. And yeah, this is just another episode of a show where you're trying to fit in a gaming habit into a busy lifestyle, and so we decided to play short games, and this one is a follow-up, or not a follow-up, the predecessor of the first game we ever played on this, Inside. It's made by the same company, and I think they're about 6 years apart, which I'm sure will bring up a lot of comparisons because we definitely played these out of order. I think I would have liked this. Spoiler alert, I like this game, but I think it would have been much better if we played this one first and then Inside. I think I would have saw this game in a better light. So to answer, we got a question based off of our Instagram. So one of them I just answered already, and I want to make sure that I give credit to who asked it. It was Meg Carter on Instagram asked, have we played any game similar to this before? Yes, it's the very first episode of the official episode of the show is Inside. If you want to go give that a look. Very similar games, almost exactly the same game.
That's one of my theater kids. Hey,
shout outs. You participate and you get the shout out. We have another question, but I'll get to it later when it's more applicable. But yeah, I figured that one off the top is like perfectly applicable, and yeah, we've played other games like it, and I feel like we're going to play a lot of games like it.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of fits. Most games like this end up being short. So, Jess, give us your quick opinions on your playthrough with Limbo. How'd it go?
I think it was a good game. Like, full disclosure, great game. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're starting off in games, because like I'm not a gigantic like gamer.
Yet.
So like if you're like yet. So if you're like starting off like I am with like getting into games, this is a good like starter game. But yeah, it's hard to follow like this game. It's a good game for beginners. Because it's literally move left, move right, jump, grab. Due to the nature of our podcast and me having watched different playthroughs of different games and like having experienced different games, this definitely like fell down through the roster, especially after playing Inside before Limbo.
Yeah. Also, it's worth noting that this game, you were 5 years old when it came out.
I was.
Yeah, because it came out in 2010, I believe. I'm going to double check right now, but I'm pretty sure it came out in 2010. Let's see. Yep, July 21st, 2010. So you were actually 6 years. Yeah, you were 4 years old. You weren't even 5. That's how old you were when this game came out. And like, again, we always like to put ourselves in the shoes of people playing this game for the first time, like in the year it came out. Great, amazing. Like, very, very like, what the hell is going on? I can like this stuff that was being done in this game was not being done in other games at that time. So it'd be pretty impressive and pretty like noteworthy at the time.
I have opinions, but some of them are spoilers. That's for our other section.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm kind of just having the overall. If you've never been here before, each episode's about 3 parts. We have the intro and overall discussion of the story. And then we have an intermission where we just talk about catch up things, and then we'll have a spoiler section, which in this one, again, typically in these games like Inside or Limbo or I was going to say What Remains of Edith Finch, but like that episode's 2.5 hours long. So like everything in that episode is long. But certain games, the overarching story is going to be very cut and dry. So we're going to have a pretty short bit here. So I'm just trying to get a vibe and a consensus. So we both like this game. What did you think of like the controls compared to like, for example, Inside? Like they have the exact same controls to a T. How did it feel comparatively? Because you played Inside. I didn't play that one at that time, but I've played it before.
Definitely since like had I played this first and then played it inside, I would have been like a little confused still. But since I played inside, I was like, oh, and I just it because it starts off with like it just says Limbo, press any button, and then you start off.
Just like inside. Literally exactly
Just
the
like
same. Yeah.
inside.
They have a thing. Like they have a style and they stuck to it.
But this time I like because with inside, I don't know if you remember, but I like was like, what do I do?
Hmm.
Is it do I just start? What are the controls? But since I had already played it, I was like, oh, great, just start moving.
Yeah, and that's a really
Uh,
important thing. Like in I've mentioned it before. It's like the language of gaming, right? Like this is something now that you're going to be able to take to any other game that just kind of starts off like that, where it's like, what's the first thing you should do in a game every time you play it? Try to move and see what happens. Like if there's nothing happen, press a button. Like that's something that's going to stick with you for the rest of like your gaming life. So I think that's really that's a good point of like, yeah, I have this background and now I know, like, especially because it's the same company, so of course they're gonna have a very similar style, so that makes sense to me. I like that. That's a good point. Also, they both start in a forest, which I thought
both
was
start in the
interesting.
forest, and your character is a little guy with eyes, and that's all you get.
Yeah, the eyes are very interesting. Because it's a this whole game is monochromatic. I don't think there's an ounce of color in the entire game. That it's not like with Inside where everything was monochromatic, and then when something was colored, you're like, oh, that's important. I don't think anything was either. It was either black, white, gray, and then the eyes were light, and that was it. Like that's the only thing in the whole game. Yeah, you play as a little boy, and he wakes up like because when the game starts, he like sits up. His eyes like turn on, and then he sits up. Because like when I first started, I was like trying to find him. I was like, I know he's in there somewhere, and then his eyes lit up. I was like, I did not think that was him. Okay, and then you're in the forest, and very similar to. Or very differently actually, because in Inside you're immediately like trying to run away from things, and then in this you're just going, and then eventually
Yeah,
like things start running away from you, which is interesting. But I'm trying to think like what else should we cover that's important to this game to kind of sell it prior to moving into the intermission.
if you like audio design,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll love this game. I Eric played this game before me because I'm a first year college student and this is my first semester and I had a lot going on.
Yeah. Hey, it's a perfect example of this podcast, right? Like that's why we have the podcast is you're a busy person and it's hard, but you still managed to do it. You still beat it, and like you started playing it and a week later you beat it. Like, it took a couple sittings.
I started it Monday, finished it Friday.
Yeah. Pretty solid. You started it probably the worst possibly time, like right in the beginning of the school week, and ended it on the beginning of the weekend. Like that's great. It worked out.
With a full-time schedule of being a student because I'm taking 14 credit hours
Mm-hmm.
and also social life,
Yeah.
but I
I
still
know.
did it.
Yeah. Look at you living that life. I, on the other hand, sat down on my couch on Saturday while my wife was hanging out with her friends, and I just sat there for 3 hours and played it through one sitting, and that was it. And I was like, great. This is awesome. My AirPods that I was using to listen to died right at the end of the game. So I was like, I had to pause mid screen, plug in some headphones, and then listen to the last like 15 seconds of it because I was like, I'm not missing this. Because I tried to turn it up on the Switch. I was like, this audio is terrible. So I had to like go get some headphones. It was so funny. But yeah, very different. I set aside that block of time where I was like, I'm going to beat this game. And then you sporadically played it throughout the week. It works out because it wasn't that hard to like get it going either. It's another very easy like jump in, jump out, a lot of checkpoints. So there's a lot of stoppage points of the game. So it worked out.
Yeah, that's it. If you like sound design, if you like puzzles,
Mm-hmm.
because it's also a very like Inside puzzle-based game.
Yep.
So
It's a puzzle platformer with a lot of like semi creepy vibes, I would say, and not like full creepy. I feel like Inside's a little creepier given the imagery, but it's definitely spooky and Trying to think of another good way to describe it is just like it's hard too. It's a pretty hard game. Like
There were so. We'll get into this. We'll get
yeah.
into this part.
There
Yeah.
was a difficulty spike in the last like 20% of this game that I was like not ready for. I was like, "Whoa, where did this come from?" And so yeah, we'll talk about that more.
If my roommate comes back while we're talking about this in the last part of our
Hmm.
episode, I can have them attest to how many times I almost like threw my Switch in a fit of rage.
I know you were texting me about that. I'm very curious exactly what the situation is because there's definitely some points where I was getting a little tilted as well. So I'm very curious if they line up. But yeah, I think this is definitely a recommend, like a strong recommend. And then when you bought it on the Switch, how much did you get it for?
So there was a sale
Hmm.
going on for the indie games, and the sale was like 30% off. And then I also had my Nintendo Switch Gold points.
Oh, nice.
And so I ended up getting it for like 10 cents.
Oh, nice. Okay. So do you remember how much the sale was?
Sale was like 30%, so it went down from like
It's like $10, right? It's a
10.
$10 game, so it's like
Yeah.
$7. Yeah.
Hmm.
This game goes on sale fairly often. It's included in a lot of bundles and things like that. Like, if you want to play this game, you can play. Oh, also, I found out I think you can play it on your phone through the Netflix app. I found
Netflix.
that out after
Yep.
playing it. I was like, oh, okay. I think playing it on your phone would be really cool because phones nowadays definitely have a better screen than the 2017 Switch. So I think if you're gonna play I bet the blacks and whites and everything are popping on your phone if you got a good one. So I think I would recommend playing it on that. It might be even harder actually, controls wise. But if you have a controller to hook up to your phone, probably the best way to play it. Any last comments before we go into an intermission and catch up?
Oh, I think I'm chilling. Um, I'll do my closing statement. Sorry. I'm in a communications class and we
Yeah,
were
let it
talking
rip.
about like my closing statement. Um, it's an eerie puzzle game that's like fun even to watch other people play it because I know like even though my roommate she was doing other things like it was still like I'd scream and it would just be like, "You good there?" And I'd explain it and she'd be like, "I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You gotta figure it out." So I think it'd be fun to watch someone play this just to like see frustration levels as they
Hmm.
go on. I definitely recommend with headphones.
Yeah.
But also I'm a wuss. I'm a scaredy cat. So like there was times where like my roommate should be out and I'd be like, "Okay, I have the room to myself. I'm gonna pop on my headphones. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get a couple like levels out of Limbo.
Hmm.
Let's do this." And then because my headphones are soundproof or like noise
Oh yeah,
canceling,
yeah, yeah.
all I heard were the Limbo sounds, and I was like, "Yeah, I should wait until she gets back."
Yeah. Oh yeah. The ambiance is very creepy. I like this closing statement. It's a new Jess segment for before we go into the intermission. That's good. You can practice your speaking. It'll be all good. Okay, cool. So with that, we'll head into the intermission. We'll be doing a little catch up. I have almost no news, I think. So it'll mostly be Jess. So we'll see you guys in a second. Into the intermission we go. Jess, do you want me to go very quickly about what I've been doing and then you can give us updates on the college life that you're living? I can't hear you.
Hello?
There we go. Okay.
Yes, that
Okay.
works.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I saw see, again, benefits of the video call. I could see your lips moving. No audio was happening. So it worked out. Okay. I'll go into mine very quickly. I'm slowly using a guide to play through Majora's Mask on my 3DS. It's been fun. I stand by the fact that anybody that was under the age of 10 that said they beat Majora's Mask when it came out on their own without a guide is a liar, because that game is so confusing. And I was just on another podcast because I'm addicted to recording podcasts. I was on a friend of the show, Derek's Good Games Casually. There's a nice 40-minute interview on there of me just talking about this show and my life in video games and whatnot. It's a good listen. It's a good podcast. It's a nice side piece to our podcast. If you like our hour and a half long episodes and you're like, you know what? I also want to listen to an entire podcast while I'm making my breakfast. It's a perfect time to listen to Good Games Casually because their episodes are about 10 to 15 minutes long. But then when you're, going on a long commute and you're like, man, I got to listen to video games, you come back to us. It works out. You can listen to him throughout the day, listen to us when you're doing all of the things that take a long time. It's perfect. The other thing I'm playing is, I think I mentioned Retro Bowl once before, which is a football game on Apple Arcade. They came out with a college version, and it's been fun. So I got back into that. It's basically the same game with, it's got college football stuff, which is a little different than NFL stuff, because my football team sucks. So I was like, I'm going to start watching college football. And so I literally watched my dad's alumni because my college, I went to Cal State Fullerton, they don't have a football team. So I just root for my dad's team, which is U of A. And I literally, as I declared, I don't think I'm watching NFL football, or at least my team anymore. The team who shall not be named because they just got destroyed 70-20. Yeah. Most scored points since 1966. We're terrible. We're not going to talk about that. I went and I watched U of A, and they won. And then the next day, I see that Retro Bowl had just come out with the spin-off sequel to Retro Bowl called Retro Bowl College. And I was like, it's a sign. I should stop paying attention to the NFL for a little bit. And so I pivoted into watching. Now I'm paying attention to college football because I need something to do. But yeah, that's about it for me. Nothing too crazy. Nothing groundbreaking. How about you, Miss College Freshman?
Yeah. It's been hard playing video games. Limbo was the first video game I played in my 1 month up here.
Mm-hmm.
I just downloaded Minecraft onto my laptop literally like 2 days ago.
Wow. That's serious business right there. Yeah. If it took you
Right?
this long.
I haven't played it still because it's just, I have 14 credit hours, which, 14? Yeah.
And you
14
go
credit
Monday
hours.
through Friday, right? Like you have one class on Friday, but you still go Monday through Friday.
I've got 2 classes on Friday.
You're crazy. You're crazy. Can't.
They're right, like one right after another, and it's theater and then my favorite class.
Okay.
So
that's not too bad.
Surprisingly, theater is not my favorite class.
I mean, you don't have acres, so of course it's not your favorite class.
But yeah, no, college is very cool. Being in my town is very nice. This town, Flagstaff, my mountain town, so nice.
Yeah, I love Flagstaff. It's the best.
It's turning it's already autumn here. It's amazing. I send Nina, Eric's wife, pictures. I literally sent a video today of a tree that was a stoplight because it went green, yellow, and red.
Yeah.
All the way up to the top.
We have appreciated the updates because over here in the valley, it's still just hot. It was 102 degrees out still. That was awesome. Yeah. It was only 102 degrees for like 2 hours for the most part. It's finally starting to dip into the 90s, but it's probably like, 76 degrees up there or something like that.
Right now it's 72.
Hey, I was close. Okay.
Yeah.
I was
and it's been
I was higher. I thought I was going to like overshoot it by like being too cold. That's crazy. That's so nice.
I got to wear a jacket all day today.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And the other day, Saturday, I was wearing a hoodie when I did my walk to Target. It was so nice.
Green hoodie?
No, black hoodie.
Oh, black hoodie. Okay. I feel like most of the time I see pictures of you, it's in that green hoodie that we bought from Target.
I wasn't wearing that because it was in my laundry because I wore it earlier in the week.
Gotcha. Okay. I was like, I know I've seen pictures of you in it up there, so I know it's up there.
Yeah. No. That's also a perk about being up here is everything is walking distance. Not everything, but a lot of things are walking distance from my university, which is really nice because I
Yeah.
live on campus. And if it's not walking distance, we get free bus rides on the Route 10.
That's sick. That's really cool. That sounds like a great college experience you're having over there. I went to a commuter school, which means people drive in to go to that school, which is most schools in Southern California, if I'm being honest. But I grew up 10 minutes from it. So I just drove right down the street, went in, left, never talked to anybody except for my classmates, participated in nothing except for 3 theater performances that were required by my class. And that was it. So I'm very happy that you're taking part in the college experience because it's important, especially when you go to an actual college town and not Fullerton. Because if you've been to Fullerton, they have one place, it's 2 miles long, and it's just bars and tattoo shops and one place that has video games, and that's it. So there's not too much going on there.
Well, full disclosure, my only quote unquote college experience was going to a late night showing. Not late night showing, it was like from 9 to. I left the dorm at 6, got back here at like 10:30.
Yeah. I mean, that's
But
that's
here
not
that's
super
late.
Yeah. It gets dark there fast, right?
Yeah. By the time we finished walking half a mile, we left here at 6:30. By the time we were done walking half a mile, which was like 10 minutes, it was already dark. Like the stars were already out.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, there's like no light pollution there, right?
Yeah, we're a certified dark town. We're one of the like handful of international dark cities because we have the observatory here.
That's
The
sick.
Lowell Observatory. That's where we found Pluto.
That's so cool. I love that.
And then another fun fact. You see, I'm in this class called NAU 100, which is transition into college.
Oh yeah, it's your like, welcome to college. Let's do some college experiences and explore your life a little bit and figure out what you're gonna do. Right? That's kind of the gist of it. Yeah.
Practically. And one of our lessons was like get to know your campus, and so we played a Kahoot of like, what's this building? What does it have? What's this building? What can you do in here? Like the Health and Learning Center, there's the free gym that any NAU student has access to, which is sick. I don't use it.
I mean, you're in a walkable town, and like
I walk around 3 miles every day.
yeah, like unless you're trying to actually like put on muscle or train for something specific, like you don't need to go to the gym if you're walking 3 miles a day.
Yeah, but fun fact about one of the telescopes that NAU has, because obviously there's like astronomy courses here.
I love astronomy. Tell me. It's on my chest.
There's a oh yeah, you do. We have a telescope here that Neil Armstrong trained in.
Oh, what the? That's cool. That's so sick. I had no idea.
Yeah.
You're the third person I
idea.
know that's gone to NAU, and this is just now finding out about this.
Even my instructor didn't know about it until it came up on the Kahoot.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
But back to my only college experience I've had here. We went to go see Into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse, with me, my roommate, and then our friend Dyson. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
My roommate's obsessed with Spider-Punk. She did a cosplay of him, of Hobie Brown.
Full cosplay. Full. It wasn't just like the mask or anything or the jacket. It was a full cosplay. It was crazy.
They did a whole morph. She did a whole morph suit. She handmade the jacket. And then she has these Converse. I don't know if she left them here or not. There's Converse that she spiked and stitched a Spider-Man into it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I wore a plaid skirt, a white shirt, and a halter top, and I looked like Penny Parker, and that was my cosplay.
Yeah, you cosplay as a character who's in it for 10 seconds of this movie.
Hey, shut up.
She's in it, and she's like a main character in the first one, so it works out. And clearly will be important in the third, so it worked out.
And then our friend Dyson, I have he wasn't going to go as anything, but we were talking about it, and I was like, I have a pink bathrobe.
Oh, hell yeah.
Peter B. Parker wears a pink bathrobe. And so we went to him and we were like, Dyson, we have a proposal for you. You wear a pink bathrobe and you're Peter B. Parker. And he was like, yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome.
So we all went dressed up kind of goofy. I was the more like normal looking one. I just looked a little weird with a halter top over another top already. But that was it.
Hey,
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to say,
a
that
free
sounds
movie.
like fun. It was free? That's sick.
Mm-hmm. It was free. We got free popcorn and free drinks.
Awesome. That's so cool. I think like the movie we got to see for free at my college one time, I didn't even go, was an early screening of Zoolander 2. And I was like, I think I'm good. Thank you. I'm fine. I don't need to watch Zoolander 2, a movie that the original came out 25 years ago or whatever. I think I'm fine on that. Well, what else has been going on?
Classes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Communication 101, Interpersonal Communication 151, Theater 101, English 105, NAU 100.
Nice. So nothing too crazy yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I already picked out some of my classes for next semester though, because the shopping cart's opened.
Oh, cool. Nice. You're getting ahead of the game. Because, I mean, you're just about to cross, like, October counts as, like, the halfway point, right? Almost?
In the middle of October is midterm season.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm almost halfway through my first semester.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm coming to get you first week of October, so we can get stuff done prior to midterms and then after midterms. So you get that chunk in between where you get to be stressed out and not talk to me, and then afterwards you'll be good.
Luckily, afterwards, November, I talked to all my teachers. November should be a chill month.
Nice.
And then December, I get out on the 14th. That's my last day of classes. But 3 of my classes, out of the 5 of them, don't have a final.
Okay.
So I don't have
classes
I don't have 3 classes that week.
Nice. Yeah. Speaking of October, do you understand, like, we're coming up, I mean, basically, I'm pretty sure, like, this time right now is 1 year ago, to almost to the day, we recorded the first episode, not the year, or the episode 0 we recorded almost a year ago. So this podcast on, I believe, October 3rd, I want to say. I'm going to double check right now when the first episode was posted. But we're about to hit a year already of this podcast.
Really?
October 3rd, before the games. Short game, long talk, episode 0.
Fun fact about October 3rd. 1, that's the important date in Mean Girls, because that's the day that Aaron asks Katie, hey, what day is it? And then 2, that's also National Boyfriend's Day.
Oh, nice. Look at that. I don't have one, so I wouldn't have known.
What do you mean? Your brother-in-laws, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are a little obsessed with me sometimes. But yeah, 1 year. I think I've done one podcast in the past that's gone a year, but not one that has been this consistent and this, like, actually, like, meaningful to do. Before it was just like, yeah, my buddies are over, we're going to record, and that's it. Like, how do you feel about that? This is your first endeavor into content creating, right?
Yeah, technically. I mean, technically.
I should say online content creating. How about that?
Well, even still, I was public relations for my drama clubs.
True. Okay. So first time where
But this is the first time where I put my name on it.
I was going to say outwardly facing content creation. How about that? Get more specific there. Give me that, Jess. Jesus. Trying to get a point across. Yeah. How does it feel? Like 1 year. It's been almost exactly a year since we first did this. And over a year since I approached you with the idea. I think I approached you with the idea in like July of last year.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's been a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I did it constantly through my senior year. But, like, in my brain, since senior year just ended in May, I'm like, so we just started the podcast like a couple months ago. But like a whole year, like I had a friend who I went to high school with, like she transferred out,
Mm-hmm.
but she now has a baby.
Whoa.
Yeah. But like in that year, like a friend has had a baby. We've had this entire podcast and like our lovely followers and
Yeah.
like we grow
Yeah.
and like
This is our 14th episode too.
damn, oh yeah, because in between the games.
Yeah, in between the games. So yeah, I mean, and hopefully, I mean, these recordings have been going pretty smoothly virtually. So hopefully, we can maybe like do twice, like 1 45-minute between the games, like a month, and then try to do a game as well. But yeah, it went by fast, man. I realized the other day, I was like, holy crap, we're about to hit a year. That's wild. So it's been fun. And then I think it'll be. I guess we can kind of talk about what the next game is going to be because we mentioned it a little bit that I'm going to be picking you up to play in person because it's important that we play this game together, and it's going to be not only the first game in a franchise that has been around for about 10 years. It's going to be the first game that we've played from the franchise. It's also going to be the longest game that we've ever played on this channel because not only are we doing the full 10-hour story, we're also going to do about the 2.5-hour DLC. Jess, what is that game that we're playing next month?
Security breach. Sorry, I'm very pumped.
Yeah, I know. I'm very excited as well. I recently got COVID for the first time ever, and the only thing I could watch was like Five Nights at Freddy's theory videos for whatever reason. It was the only thing that like didn't make me want to like pass out. I'm very excited. My brain is like chock full of FNAF stuff. So I am looking forward to it, and we're going to try. We might not see it together, unfortunately, but we're going to watch the movie for sure that comes out next month, and we're trying to tie it in. We're trying to get that SEO, get that search engine optimization going with the FNAF movie coming out, where we play FNAF Security Breach, and then hopefully, we get attacked by FNAF fans for our terrible opinions. So yeah, that's our next game. I mean, I'm very excited. This is going to be it's a big game, and it's going to be a great way to like kind of celebrate the 1-year anniversary. And this was Jess's idea, but I was on board.
It's been my idea for the last 3 months.
Yeah, we've been sitting on it. And then I promised those people that are out there that are like, when are you guys going to play Mario Odyssey or talk about it? I swear we'll get there eventually.
One of these days.
It's a good game. Go play it
On the
yourself.
back burner.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for us to talk about it. Just go play it. It's good. It's a good game. But yeah, that's going to be our next game. So we might have 2 episodes come out. I'm going to try to get this one out that we're recording right now in September. And then October will be for FNAF Security Breach plus DLC Security Breach Ruin, which is free. So we don't have to pay for that, which is nice. But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about before we jump into the very brief but potent story of Limbo?
No, I'm chilling.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys in a second. Ready to go? Good? And a mouthful of water. All right. Welcome back from the intermission. We are going to discuss Limbo. Jess, you recently beat this game 4 days ago, so I'm going to let you lead a little bit. Because if I'm going to be honest, I only know there's like 5 pivotal moments of the quote-unquote story. This is another game very similar to Inside where there's not a dedicated like thing telling you what happened. It's just like, here's some imagery, here's some background, go wild with it.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. I still don't know what the story is about.
I don't either.
Oh, because you start out in a forest and you just start walking. But this was, so I'm already going to jump into like a tiny spoiler that I had.
Hey, we're in spoiler section. Final warning. We're in spoiler section. If you don't want any spoilers for this game. Another thing, it's just like Inside. I said it in the Inside episode. This game, like we could tell you everything that happens in this game. It is a game that you need to experience. So even if you want to sit around for the next 20 minutes and listen to the rest of us talk, like this episode, us talking about it, it's not going to ruin anything for you really. Except maybe we might give away some puzzles, but that's about it. So go on, Jess. Give the spoiler.
Okay. So one of my first notes on my little, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I took notes for my first sit down, and then I stopped taking notes because I just got too immersed.
That's good.
One of my first notes is no instruction and then glowy thing, but I have reason why I just said glowy thing.
Okay.
So when you first start out, you're in a forest, and obviously, like, main instinct in games when you don't have instructions is go right, because going right, like, is progressing. But I realized that there wasn't like a wall like Mario Bros has where you could go to the left.
Oh, I didn't even go to the left.
I did, and I went left, and I stepped on a glowy thing, and I kept an eye out for it. Because then there was another one, like, you climbed up these trees with platforms. And then there was a platform all the way on the other side that you could, like, see. But it was kind of hard to obtain because you had to, like, swing across and jump right at, like, swing.
Yeah, they did a good job of... I think I only found, like, 4.
I think I only found, like, 5.
Yeah, but they did a good job of, like... The thing that you need to get is going to be just like right above, right out of view. So it'll just be hanging, like the string that you need to swing on or pull on will just be right. So you have to kind of see it from the perfect angle, and you're like, oh, I can interact with that. And then it usually leads to one of these little bug things. Did you look up what the thing is that you unlock? Okay, I'll tell you later. It's not as good as Insides. But go on. What was your spoiler?
Why does my note only say glowy thing? I thought I had more of a thing there.
Glowy thing. End of note.
Hold on. It just says, I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up, but it just says glowy thing with a bunch of question marks. Of course it is.
Oh my God, your font is huge. I could see it from across the room.
I zoomed in so that you could be able to see
thank
it.
God. I was like, you were not... I was like, good Lord. Okay.
Glowy thing with a bunch of question marks.
Yeah.
But then, like, when it... Oh, sorry, I just hit my I hit my headphones and it made a weird sound.
I feel you. Compose yourself.
Glowy thing. When I first came across bugs in people's heads, I was like, I stepped on that earlier. Because you keep going, and at some point you see, like, people dying or dead. And they have the little glowy thing that I stepped on earlier just sticking out of the top of their head.
Yeah.
And it was, like, similar to Inside, where Inside was more mind control-esque by, like, big... What's it called? Like the...
It was like a helmet thing.
By the helmet thingy? This was just a bug that, like... stuck into someone's head.
Yeah. And I mean, it was another thing, like in the first bit of Inside, there's the pig that has like the worm thing, like controlling it. That's like making it go crazy. Yeah, right out of its butt. Yeah. It's very strange. Yeah. Those things were creepy. And I thought it was a really, really cool mechanic because when you get later on, you get the bug thing in your head and they take control of you and walk whatever direction you're facing. When you get the thing, you start walking that direction, and you can, if you try to go backwards, you slow down, but you can jump and do that, and you can even run, but then it hits light and it doesn't like that and turns around. And there's like the only way to get rid of these bug things is from another bug thingy that hangs on the ceiling you have to be high enough and it'll snatch it from the top of your head, which I thought was a really cool mechanic. And I thought, because like I was like, man, there was something like that kind of missing from Inside. Like we had the cool mind control mechanics, but there wasn't something that like took the control away from us like that. But I guess there is a lot more obstacles in general and inside like the dogs, and there's a lot more threats in general and inside than
Yeah.
in Limbo.
In Limbo, it's more do things in your own time until the last like quarter of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when you have to like do things within certain time restraints.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in
That
Limbo,
was
it's
definitely, I
very
know exactly what frustrating part you're talking about.
in the first like 3/4 of it, it's just okay, I need to jump from here to there to there to there.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need to push this over there so I can jump up there.
Yeah. And if
It's
I
not
fail,
it's
I don't die. But then in the later half, it's like if you fail, you die. I'm like, oh God. Okay, thanks. What was I'm trying to so we start in the forest and then we kind of the first big obstacle we hit are the bear traps, right? Like there's bear traps on the floor. Dude, the bear traps scared the shit out of me the first time that happened. I was like, oh my God. I was not expecting that. Like,
that was part of my my notes app that I have
mm-hmm,
was bear trap death sounds.
mm-hmm. Dude. So yeah, that's the thing. In Inside, it felt like when our character that we named Milo, when he died, if you weren't falling from a very high height, it was just kind of like a human fall flat character falling over. Like there wasn't really anything
He
too
just
rough
kind of
about it.
went limp.
Yeah, he went limp. If you fell from a high height, you had bone crunching, and then there was the one point where he could get vaporized. Like that. But in this, every time this little boy dies, it is gruesome, and the sound is just like it's eerie and gross, and like yeah, I was like taken aback by that the first time it happened because I didn't die for a while, and then when I did die for the first time, I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy.
Yeah, I died immediately. 'Cause the first time I died, I was jump. It was a jump.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first chapter.
Yeah.
You did a little. It was it was a slope that you slid down, and you
Yeah.
had to jump up. I didn't jump up, and I fell down, and it literally was just like bones crunching as
Mm-hmm.
soon as you hit the floor, and I was like, oh my God.
It was.
But then
It's
I got the
loud.
hang of it, jumped, and then and my roommate was here, and I kept going, and I was like talking. I was talking to her, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just playing like Limbo," and she's like, "Oh, I played that before. Like if you need help, like let me know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to help you." I was like, "Cool. I've got a gamer here."
Yeah, a gamer.
But we're just. I keep thinking I see someone in my dorm, and I don't.
I know. As like both of us, we started recording at like 5-ish, and like the sun's setting, and both of our rooms are just getting darker and darker as it happens. Eventually, we won't see each other. It's just the light of our monitors. Oh wow, you got a light. How magical. Mine's out of reach.
I've got 3 different settings on this light actually, and then hold on. Now I need it.
Now it's just
now I need to
dark.
show it
Now
off.
she's gone.
I got white light,
Oh god, it's aggressive.
yep, blue light,
Blue light. Okay.
and then the warm light. I like the warm light.
Warm
best.
light's always good. Warm light's good. Yeah. White light is aggressive.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress.
Side note about the lights. Yeah.
So after the jump, I was just talking with my roommate, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." I keep walking, and I die, and I was like, Why'd I die? What?" And the noise of the bear trap closing in on your character was so scary
Mm-hmm.
because it was like a
It's
metallic.
loud.
And it, and the thing about the death animation as well is you bleed. Your character bleeds.
Yeah.
He gushes blood, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And my roommate's like, "What happened?" I was like, "Bear traps," and they're like, you need to jump over that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
It is gnarly. It's loud. It's gruesome. And then I think the next bit is the spider, right?
I can check.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Perfect. Okay. We have a direct reference with the switch. Okay. So confirmed the spider is next as like the most pertinent
big
thing.
thing.
Yeah. Because we're going to try to,
Pertinent.
there is a lot of stuff that happens in this game, but there's a lot of, I guess I could call them set pieces that we will discuss that are kind of like the important things.
A lot of things that do happen that we're not going to be touching on is more of like telling you how to learn the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
that's a
like
good point.
we just convened about like, oh no, spider didn't happen. This very niche thing did happen,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like after I said it, I was like, oh, it's literally just teaching us how ropes work in
Yeah,
the game.
exactly. And I think that's really important to talk about because in the beginning, there's like 4 things that happen that are kind of like important to the quote unquote story. And then once you get into the second half, every screen, like each checkpoint is kind of important. And there's like so much jam packed in there. And it's because you know how to play the game at that point. And they're maybe only teaching you like one new mechanic at a time kind of thing. So after the bear traps, we have a spider, which is,
Yeah.
if you've seen us post anything, if you've ever seen an image of Limbo, you've seen the spider, because it's like the thing. It's, just black legs with like long and spindly legs. And that was cool because that was another thing where, with Inside, you were helpless. I felt like we never really like fought back against anything until the end.
Yeah, we couldn't like fight anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was always running.
Yeah, and in this one, you use a bear trap on a spider, which is pretty gnarly. So that was like, I was like, whoa, like, you have to like time it and bait it. Like you got to bait the spider out and then put a bear trap underneath where it's going to attack. And like, it's pretty cool. But if you get caught by that spider, it's fucked up.
You get spearheaded, like completely just.
Yeah, right through your entire body.
But that part took me a long time to do it because I just kept getting the timing wrong. I like either I'd leave the bear trap too early so the spider would lose interest, or I'd leave it too late where like I'm running out, but it caught my heel.
Mm-hmm. So that I'm gonna like, I was gonna save this for the wrap up bit, but like that's one of my biggest issues with this game is the timing on everything feels like just ever so slightly off, like just a little bit off. Like I feel like what I did was perfect, and then it didn't work. Or like,
Yeah.
a perfect example is early on when you said you died on the slide, right? Anytime you're sliding, the jump feels late. Like you press the button and it feels really late. And like, and that might be a gameplay mechanic, but it does feel like everything. And you can feel the polish because inside when you did something, like the timing on that like felt triumphant. Like it was so perfect. And you're like, there was no other way I could do this. And then this, you're like, I got it. This is perfect. And then it's still messed up. And you're like, wait, what? Like that felt perfect. Like everything was perfect. Like I was like counting in my head how long everything took. Like, and then it's still, so that was definitely a big issue I had with this game. Was like, yeah, the timing was bad. After the spider, we run into another spider, very briefly, but people remember we're skipping over stuff. There's a lot that happens after the spider, but it's not as important. It just teaches you more mechanics of like, if you jump on things that look like they'll break, which is cool. I think it's one of the most they do a really good job of kind of hiding the fact that something's going to break later on in the game. And it does it makes it a cool challenge. But you run into another spider, but it looks different. And if you pay attention, it's only moving in a very weird, like, I would say, what's it called? It's a rhythmic way. And the reason it's moving in a rhythmic way is because it's not a real spider. You can see little bolts in it. And I forget, how do you solve this puzzle? I forget.
Let me play it. Hold on.
Okay.
No, we're skipping over a part.
Okay.
We're skipping over the spider that catches you and you get tied up in
That
the web.
happens at that point? Huh. I thought that happened. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was mistaken. So tell me about that bit. It's the, so after we cut off you only cut off one spider's basically its fingertip, right? And then it runs away. You don't have to do it, or do you have to do it like 3 times?
You do it 3 times.
Okay.
You do it 3 times. You cut off their leg,
Okay.
a leg each time.
Gotcha.
Um, and then you're able to pass through, and then you get to another part where I think it's another spider.
I think it's the
It
same
could be the
spider.
same.
I always
can't
saw it as the
remember.
same spider.
Like you try to run away, but it ends up you can't. I thought I was doing this wrong because I got caught by the spider and I was like, I died. How am I supposed to run away from this fucking spider? But ended up being that you're supposed to get caught and it wraps you up in its spider web.
Yeah, if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, it's what happens to Frodo, like to a T.
I've never watched it.
Oh my
or read it.
God, we gotta watch those movies. Yeah, that's a pretty good description of what happens. Basically, yeah, you get stuck up on the ceiling, right? They like put you up on the top. Yeah.
And you have to wiggle out and jump out.
Mm-hmm. That one's
then
fun.
you
I really
retreat.
liked that bit of the game. It was a fun little time because you can only hop, and then if you jump, you can hold the jump to jump farther. Yeah, it's really fun.
But yeah, there's another puzzle where you have to time your long jump, and you can't, like, if you jump before it like messes up the timing of the jump. That took me like maybe 3 tries until I finally got it.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about because like if you time it wrong, you like over jump it, or like you don't have like you. Yeah, it's a tricky little jump.
After a while, you take a fall, and then the webs come off of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's practically that part.
Yeah, you're not wrapped up for too long.
Yeah. And then where's the mechanical one? Oh, the fucking boulder.
Ooh, the boulder is with that's okay.
With the wrapping still on.
Oh, okay. Because there's another boulder.
Then you start running away from.
There's 2 boulder sequences in this.
I think so.
Actually, there might be 3 now that I'm thinking about it. There might be a third one. Yeah, I think there's 3.
You know what I could have been doing instead of going back in and playing the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a live experience.
Searched it up.
Yeah, you could have, but that's okay. So yeah, you just run away from the boulder, right?
No, this one, while you're still wrapped up in the spider silk, you're on top of the boulder and you're hopping it to make it move. Keep moving the boulder, but don't fall off of it, because then you fall off into a pit.
Oh yes, I remember this bit. I know what you're talking about now. That one's that you are still wrapped up at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is difficult, man. Yeah, they pack a lot into this game in like 3 hours. That's crazy. I need to double check. I'm gonna double check for sure. I'm pretty sure it's 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, 3.5 hours. Yeah, so yeah, I see the boulder. I know what we're talking about here. So yeah, you do have to like jump on the boulder and then jump off, and it's not a boulder like Indiana Jones situation. It's more of like log rolling, where you have to roll the boulder in a certain direction. Okay. So then what else is there? Oh, so right after this is when the you run into the fake spider. Yeah. So the with the fake spider, it's moving in a really rhythmic way, like I was saying earlier, and all you have to do is like kind of like it moves up and down really slowly. It's not like the real spider where it's like it reacts to you. This one's just going up and down. You just have to run underneath it, and then you see another person, which is crazy.
And they're operating a lever.
Exactly, which I was really sad I couldn't operate because I wanted to. I was like, oh, I want to play with this. And then let's see. After that, I'm just looking at the pictures on the IGN guide to like re-spark my interest. This is when the spider comes back. So you go through like a little obstacle course, and then the spider comes back, and then you're running through. And this was like one of my favorite parts of the game, because you're like are running uphill, and you have to like free a boulder, and like you have to push it up a little bit and then run away from it, as the spider's chasing you this whole time. And this is where a little bit of the inside, like how inside came to be, shows itself, because there is some bits on here where you have to do things just right enough to where the spider's just about to get you, and then it can't get you, which is really cool. But basically, yeah, you kill the spider by crushing it with a boulder, which is pretty gnarly. I was like, holy crap, that's wild. What are you looking at right now?
A YouTube video from 8 years ago that says Limbo full game walkthrough, no deaths.
Yeah, the 1 hour one. I think I saw that briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was where the game got very weird for me, because or a little bit before, because you saw somebody operating the fake spider,
Yeah.
and I was like, who the hell is that? Who's that? Why are their eyes not glowing?
And then after that, there was more people. We didn't touch on this because it's another like showing you mechanics. But there's more people throwing like burning trash at you, and like they have bear traps set up.
Those were gnarly. Yeah,
but like
I thought that was
never
weird
explained
too.
that like who these other people are, why their eyes aren't like ours. Like
yeah, that comes up in some of the theories, but like, yeah, this game definitely, compared to Inside, where Inside has like a lot of different stories that could be being told and whatnot. It definitely feels like these guys made a cool game with cool atmosphere, and I think the creator even said like, yeah, there isn't really a foregone conclusion on what the story is, or what Limbo is, or what this means, or anything like that. But yeah, I thought that was really strange that the people were never fully addressed. And then like you see dead bodies, you see a dead body of another boy in like a crate and stuff like that. And I'm like, who are these people? Like, why is nothing? Because like very early on in Inside, you're running away from dogs and guards, and it's like, okay, other people exist in this world. And at this point, it's been like an hour, I think, of playtime, and you haven't seen another person. And then all of a sudden, there's a person, and you're like, what the hell? What is this? This is so weird. But it was cool. It was a cool little moment. Like, get a bunch of questions going and stuff.
Yeah, you kill the spider with the big boulder. You keep running through the forest.
Oh, you run away from the people, and like by running away from them, they all die.
Yeah,
like, they all get killed
you
by
don't
other
kill the
traps.
spider with the boulder. You don't get killed, but you don't kill the spider. You hurt the spider, then it comes back.
I was waiting for the point where it comes back. Okay, I know you don't kill the spider. That part was one of my favorites, because I was like, no way, I'm actually gonna do this. There's also the bit like coming up where we kind of talked about it, but this was where after you crush the spider and like defeat the people chasing after you, this is the first time you get one of the brain slugs in your head, which we already talked about a little bit. But yeah, what happens when the spider comes back?
You pull its leg clean off. There's only one leg left on it, so it's like a black blob and then a little like javelin type of thing.
Did you know exactly what you needed to do right away, or did you like hesitate?
Well, I looked around at first because I was like, maybe it was just there to scare me. So I looked forward, but then it was clear that I needed something circular to get me to progress. And I was like, spider body is perfectly circular for this little hole right here.
Yeah,
and
that is messed up that you push the spider's like dead body like after everything.
But I was like, how am I to grab this spider and push it? Because it like did its little pierce attack thingy, and I used that to climb over the spider, and I tried pushing it.
Oh, no way. You like got like you didn't grab the leg
I got
first.
behind it.
That's so fun.
No. And I tried pushing it, and it didn't push, and I was like, what am I supposed to? And I was like, grab the leg, obviously.
So you were able to get back over like after? Okay, that's so crazy.
Because it attacked, which gave the attack a cooldown, so I jumped onto the leg, used the leg to jump over it.
Okay, nice. That's cool.
But yeah, then I realized, I was like, oh, just gotta pull its leg off and then start moving it.
Yeah. And then I think yeah, after that is when we get the first head slug. And I also think this is the first appearance of the girl that happens is around the head slug time. Um you like very briefly like you're walking one direction um and then as you're getting head slugged and I think you walk into the sun and like in the distance like just a little bit further to the right you can see a girl sitting underneath uh a a treehouse, and then like you hit the sun. So since your head slugged, you have to turn and walk the other way. And then when you come back that direction, it's a completely different thing. Like that treehouse was not there. There's nothing there, and I was like, "What is happening with this game?" Like this is where I started to get really intrigued.
You're a little ahead.
Oh, am I a little
Um,
ahead?
right here is where right after we push the spider's body
Hmm.
is where we see the other boy in the crate.
Yes. Yeah.
And sorry, I'm watching the walkthrough right
No,
now.
you're good. I like the context.
Um, and then you jump over. You use the dead bodies that are in a body of water as
Oh,
like
yeah, that's right. That's so morbid. Yeah, there is so much death in this game. It's crazy.
there's dead bodies in this like little puddle of water. Which if you go anywhere, like if your character goes anywhere shoulders or above
Hmm.
underwater, you're dead.
That's
That's
right. I
it.
totally forgot that. Yeah, this character can just not swim at all. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got
But
scared every time there was water. I was like, how deep is that? Is it going to kill me like instantly? Yeah, I remember that now.
yeah, so you use other bodies that are in this puddle to jump over it. Right, there's a um you have to use another one. I'm not going to go into the details of that cuz it's another game mechanic thing. You just you use a dead body to trigger a trap. That's all I'm going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
And then you have to over the buttons and then you get to these people with trank guns.
that's right. That's where I was talking about when you have to run away from people and get they all
Yeah,
die from the traps.
traps. Yeah, that's here.
Yeah, a lot of this game does blend together. Like I remember all of these moments, but like it's tough to put it together.
This part took me so freaking long, but it's another game mechanic thing. It's just I didn't understand it for a while.
Okay.
I had to look up a walkthrough of this specific part.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Um, it was the part where you had to pull down the weights, like the two
Yeah,
walls.
that was a weird one.
You had to pull down these two like ropes that opened up these two different walls that you had to like run to try to get under. And I didn't understand it, so I looked up a walkthrough of it.
No, yeah, there was definitely some times where I was about to look up a walkthrough and then something just clicked in my head like that. Whereas in Inside, I don't think we looked up a walkthrough once. Like everything
Mm.
was like there was some times where we got stumped, but like it like
Figured it out.
that was another issue with this game that I had where I was like some of the puzzles I was like I would like bash my head against the wall trying to figure them out and then I'd figure them out and I'm like that's not satisfying. Like I didn't feel good after figuring it out. I was just frustrated.
Yeah.
So definitely a knock there. Whereas like an Inside, every time we figured something out, we're like, hell yeah, that was great. That was so smart. I can't believe they thought about that. But this is their first game, so it's a little. I can give them the leeway there.
But then after that is when you get your first bug, and it's very self-explanatory with that part
Mm-hmm.
because there's a little beam of light right after you get your first head slug,
Mm-hmm.
a beam of light in a crate, and the little pincers at the top. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Womp womp
Well,
womp.
because yeah, we see those little head things or the little worms on the ceiling eat one of the head slugs. So it does a good job of showcasing like what we need to do with those, which was cool. And then is
Then we use the hamster to power the industrial
the
stuff.
hamster. That's right. I completely forgot about the hamster bit.
Okay, so both Inside and Limbo have done the greatest thing of making me attached to little animals, and then we have to use them and not keep them as little buddies.
Did you really want this hamster following you around in Limbo?
I wanted the hamster.
There's no way it was going to survive anywhere in Limbo.
There's checkpoints for that.
Fair enough. But yeah, I didn't even realize like what it was. I just like released it and then like I was like, "Oh, that solved the puzzle." Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I totally forgot about the hamster. That's crazy.
We use a hamster. It powers the industrial part. You get water faucets now that you
Mhm.
have to use to float boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, which we talked about earlier. Water is death, so very very precarious there. And at this point, we have started to transition into like the more industrial stuff. We're not like fully industrial yet, but we're like about to get there, if I remember correctly.
We're like walking through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the game's about to get wild. Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. There's not as much. So we're in chapter 10 out of like 35, so we might want to pick it up a bit
Yeah.
because there's not too much more that happens that's too crazy. Um, was there any before we like steamroll through the story bits, quote unquote, the story bits? Was there any puzzles that like stuck out to you that were like really frustrating? Because there was a couple for me that I remember that I was like, this is ridiculously hard. Like this isn't fun anymore.
For me, it was the hotel,
Yes. Yeah, the
the
hotel
neon sign.
sucked. It was terrible. That's where I first realized like the timing is so bad.
Hotel sucked booty cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it was. There's two other ones that like I wanted to like throw my switch. I just wanted to scream and cry.
Mm-hmm.
It was where you drop two boxes and you have to stack them on each other to jump over
Buzzsaw.
a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
And then it was the one where the whole screen was turning and
Yeah.
you had to like avoid the buzzsaws, but you couldn't jump down to the floor because the floor was electrified and
Mm-hmm.
you had to. It's so annoying.
Yeah. That was a really annoying one. I didn't like that one at all. That's where like all of a sudden, so I just mentioned we're in chapter, what we were just talking about was chapter 10. This happens like in chapter 11 or 12, and then the difficulty just spikes. Like it gets so hard so fast and just like maintains that difficulty for like the rest of the game, where it's like everything has to be timed perfectly, or you just can't do it, or like you think it's perfect and it's like, oh no, you're actually a half a second off, and you're like, oh my god, and then you have to like redo all this like that's the most annoying thing is how far you have to backtrack when you mess up a puzzle. Like there's so many situations where it's like you set everything up and then you mess up and then you have to like, it's not like a,
Reset.
yeah, you have to reset everything and it's like, oh my god, it's like I'd rather just die and then it'll reset everything for me. It's like so much better. But
There's
yeah.
a lot of hard puzzles, and then you get to this point. Sorry, I'm like taking over
No, I love it. Go
the.
ahead. I'm you played it more recently than me, so I'm like I'm just scrolling through the play like the walkthrough to try to remind myself about certain things. So go on.
A lot of hard puzzles, and if you have vertigo, um, don't do the puzzles. Don't play the game. It's there's a lot of it's zooming out while it's turning
Hmm.
and a lot of motion for someone who's motionless.
Yeah, that was a pretty. I thought it was a cool mechanic, but yeah, I definitely thought I was like, whoa, this like increases the difficulty like crazy, like the movement. Because yeah, everything like you hit a switch and then all of a sudden stuff starts like fully rotating, and that was intense. I was like, oh my god, like where am I supposed to go? And then it always leads to like one death, and you're like, "Ah, okay, which is like fine. It's like you get a lot of checkpoints and it gets you back quickly, but you know, it is nice. It would be nice to have more of a situation where it's like, yeah, you might die here, but there's enough information on screen to like figure it
Know
out.
what
And
you need to do.
exactly. And I felt like
A
a
lot of
lot of the time it was not happening.
a lot of the puzzles I figured it out by guessing.
Mm-hmm.
But you go through all these gears and a bunch of like You get to defy gravity at some points.
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up next is like the magnets and gravity, which was very reminiscent of the water in Inside, where like the water's on
Inside.
the ceiling and you can swim up into it and stuff like that. That was crazy. God,
Yeah, it took
Inside's
me a
such a good
while.
game. Inside's so good. Um,
But yeah, you go through, you defy gravity, you like use magnets to keep boxes on the ceiling,
yeah.
and then you see this girl, and like obviously, you run to her.
Yeah, this is at the
This is almost nearing the end.
yeah, almost at the end. Right, right, right.
So you run over to the girl, and then as soon as you're like literally inches away, a freaking worm slug thingy comes and gets you, and you go the
Yeah.
complete opposite way.
And then when you come back, it's that treehouse is like gone. I think I referred to that a little too early. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
crazy. Like that honestly was my favorite part of the game because up until that point nothing like that had happened where
hmm
something was there one moment and then you come back and it's gone. So it's
Gone.
like completely gone. Cuz most of the time like yeah, there's rotating, there's all this stuff, but like there wasn't things just disappearing or there wasn't you weren't imagining things. Like everything was actually happening to you. So I thought that was what I was like, oh, cool. Is this where we're going to start going off the rails and like there's going to be some wild stuff happening? And it just never, it didn't. Oh my God. It just sucked in some dust. Hold on. Huh. So yeah, I thought it was going off the rails and then it just like never fully manifested in the way that I thought it was going to. Which was like I was like a little disappointed because I was like, "Ooh, we're getting creepy now." I like that. Like, why are things disappearing? Who's this girl? And then it was like, "There's no answers." I was like, "Damn it! I just wanted something."
And yeah, like you get the light, so it changes you back. You rush back. Well, at least I rushed back. I was
Hmm.
like, "There's a girl. Like maybe we get to like deal with two people at one time. Like
Hmm.
this is gonna be so great." And then it's just more puzzles in
Yep.
replacement of that girl. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
What I would, I just thought about this because, so we're actually there's only 24 chapters, so there's a little less, but we're basically to the end. What I wanted, I was looking at the guide just to, like I said, for little picture references and stuff, and what I would love to see is a full zoom out of this level that rotates because right in chapter 23 you interact with the hotel sign again and I'm like, whoa, that's like from chapter 12, like literally 12
yeah."
chapters ago. So like how did that get here? And I would love to see like a big zoom out of the actual entire map and how it rotates and interacts with everything because that'd be really really cool. But do we want to just sprint to the end here with the anti gravity chambers with some of the hardest puzzles in a puzzle platformer I've ever done? Timing wise, it was terrible. But it was like, yeah, I was so frustrated by these final like three puzzles. I was like, oh, it's over. That's it. We're done. Okay. All right, I guess. Like that was it. That was my whole like I was like so frustrated that I wasn't even like that excited that I beat the I beat the game. It was kind of weird. Do you have any other thoughts before we cover that bit?
No, I'm just watching the playthrough, and I realized that there's another puzzle that I freaking hated.
What is it?
The one where you have to, it's the ladder cart
Mm-hmm.
that you have to push, and then
Yeah, that sucked. I felt like nothing I could do could get it right. Like that one and the one where you had to like pull a switch and then the pulley pulled a rope up. I felt so dumb when I finally solved it because it wasn't that hard, but like for whatever reason it was just like not computing with me. But yeah, that the ladder on the pulley cart was so dumb. I was like, "Oh my god. This is
the
so
ladder on the
frustrating."
pulley cart, and then also the cart with the light on it that you have to stop before a button.
Mhm. That one
The
was
amount of I watched like the walkthrough for that
mhm.
part 10 times, and I still did not get it right
Yeah.
because the cart hits a button, and then the part that you're walking on
Mhm.
electrifies.
And you instantly die. Yeah. So dumb. I was like I tried it every which way until I finally just like, I guess, solved it. Like, I didn't even feel like I did anything different. It just worked that time. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is how it figured it out? Like, this is how it worked? That's so annoying. So yeah, that was definitely like that one, the latter one, and then the final one with the anti-gravity of like having to press the button midair and have it timed right so that you don't get like thrown into like they because like think about the ending of Inside. So this is the end of the game, by the way. Like the last puzzle is you basically have to jump into as anti-gravity is flipping. So it's not only flipping up and down, it's flipping left and right, and you have to flip a switch that times it so that you go through these two buzzsaws and don't hit them, and then you break through this metaphorical glass out of limbo is how the game ends. And the timing is just terrible. And this is basically the end, and then you walk, and then we'll get to that point. But that's the end of the game. Probably 4 or 5 back to back to back to back to back, like annoying, frustrating puzzles. They definitely learned their lesson because the end of Inside is just absolute chaos where you're indestructible.
Fun.
Yeah, and you just dominate everything. Because it was such a letdown at the end of this game of like, I was like, oh man. I'm like, and then right as the glass broke was when my AirPods died. And so I had to go get the thing. I was like, okay, cool. What's next? And then the game was over. And I was like, what? Like, you ended the game on like one of the most annoying puzzles? Like, it was so frustrating. Do you have any other frustration comments before we talk about the end of the game?
The puzzle where you have to like time things with a box hitting a button and the other things, like it was honestly like to me that part was easier than I thought it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I got it done really quickly. I was like, okay, 2 boxes, use one of them to push the button, use the other one to use as a blocks.
Yeah.
Cool, done. But like it was just a very unsatisfying end to it. So
Yeah,
it's like
it did feel unsatisfying. I think that's the best way to describe this game is like unsatisfying, like the ending.
especially as a dopamine chaser, I was like, cool, what's next? Like, what cool cutscene do I get?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I don't know, it was just the end. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's basically so the ending of the game is you get sent through a pane like a glass window, and then I thought that was going to be it. I literally thought that was going to be the game, and they were going to cut to black, and I was going to be like, that was so stupid. But they redeemed themselves a little bit because you get up and you walk a little bit, and then the treehouse is there, and the girl is there, but she doesn't have light up eyes. But yeah, you like walk up to her, she stands up, and then the game ends. Like that's it. Then you get a whole credits scene where basically like the credits end back on the main menu, which the main menu is, you don't really think about this at the
Character
time.
lined up.
Well, no, the main menu is different when you beat the game.
What?
Yeah. Let me see if I'll send you this real quick. So the main menu, the final scene of the game is the boy walking up to the girl. And when you're about like, I would say in real life, 10, 15 feet away from her, she stands up and then he disappears. And then, she stands up and the game ends and it goes through credits. Then the menu is the same shot of the treehouse with the rope ladder broken. And if you listen, this is kind of goes into what the theory of this game is, and I'm only going to really touch on 2 theories that I think of, and neither of them are really good. But if you listen, there's flies flying around, buzzing around, and there's 2 where the girl and the boy are both standing are 2 like swarms of flies buzzing around. So kind of signifying that they're both dead. What does that mean? I don't know. Does it mean that we escaped Limbo and brought our sister? It's confirmed it's his sister, by the way. The creator of the game did confirm that at least. Did they both their souls get put to rest? Um, did like I don't know. Like there's a couple theories where it was like she's burying him, and that's like he fell out of the treehouse and died, and she's burying him there. But then why is she dead? Then there's one. I mean, the cut and dry of this is that he's in limbo, like actual literal
Yeah.
limbo, and limbo is a place where you are kind of stuck between life and death and don't know why and can't really get yourself out, and he escapes and gets to die, right? That's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not too much. Like, there's not a lot. I would love if there was a bunch of theories that we could talk about and things like that. Do you have anything to add?
Not really.
Uh,
Like, again, I don't like. I played the game, and I was like, I don't know what the story is.
mm-hmm.
And since I was playing it in like different sittings, I couldn't like piece together everything at the like in the same moments.
All the information you get is in that last like hour of the game, like
Yeah.
literally to like put the story together. The what is interesting is like I will tell you what the if you get all 11, what they're called is eggs apparently. So they're not the actual bugs, they're eggs. Which makes sense why they don't suck your
Run
brain.
away or eat
Yeah.
you.
What you get is did you find the secret area?
No.
Okay, I found it on accident. So you remember we skipped over this part, but there's a part where there's like a little mosquito, like a giant mosquito thing that you have to hop on. Right after that bit, there is a ladder that you can climb up that's super tall. But if you walk underneath it, you eventually go. You just keep walking right, and it drops down, and it goes pitch black, and you hit a wall, and it's like, oh, okay, this is just whatever. And I was like, that's not whatever. So I jumped, and then I started climbing, and so I kept walking further to the right, and there was a field of flowers, and each of the I had gotten like two or three of the eggs at that point, and there was three of them lit up, and so that's like how in inside you find that area that has all the lights. That's this
Yeah.
area. Whereas
Gotcha.
inside you get a secret ending. In this, you just get the hardest level in the game, which is everything is pitch black and you can't see anything and you have to beat it off of sound alone.
God.
Yeah, sounds
I'd hate that.
terrible, right? I was like, why would I want to do that? That sounds awful. So that's that special bit. But yeah, I definitely recommend playing this game, but I think it's not like it doesn't hold up as well. Like if you want to play a game like this, play Inside. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely more polished, has a better story, feels better to play. I wouldn't say looks better. I love the look of it, Limbo. Like Inside and
I,
Limbo both have like incredible design.
yeah. If you want to geek out about sound design, play Limbo. It's a great
Hmm.
sounding game.
Yeah,
Like it sounds incredible.
yeah. I don't know if anything will ever top the boom noise from Inside, where it's like rumbling and then like the explosion. That's so sick. But yeah, it's a very good game. Definitely recommend it. I'll be curious where we place this when we do our end of the year tier list that's coming up in December. But yeah, I definitely recommend playing it if you get your hands on it. If you have a Netflix account, you can play it on your phone for free. That might be a great way to experience it. Uh, and then I teased it a little bit, and but the other question we had was from Nina, can you limbo? And that'll be the question of the week as well. I don't think I can anymore. For those of you who don't know, I'm like 6'3" and I have a bad back, so I don't think I can bend over too well that direction. How about you, Jess?
I can probably get through like 3 levels of Limbo, and then that's it.
Yeah, I'd probably get
I
through
may,
like one.
if you ever look at my tweets, I don't tweet a lot, but if you ever do, I think my last tweet was like, um, mentally an 18-year-old physically got the body of a 40-year-old. Because I just, My back's always hurting. My joints hurt. I'm just in constant aches and pains. I can probably get through like 2 or 3 like levels down of Limbo, but
I think
I'm
I think you going on your 3 mile a day walks will help with not feeling that old. But yeah, question to all of you: can you limbo? Huh?
and you guys Limbo.
Can you limbo? How well can you limbo? How low can you go? However, is the better question. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a fun episode. It was kind of nice to talk about a game that we didn't like super
And
love. Yeah,
yeah,
like it was nice to
enjoy
talk, to be a little negative. I think the next game will have that as well because there's definitely some clunkiness to Security Breach for sure.
for sure,
But
especially Ruin. But
yeah,
we'll get to that when we get to
we'll
that.
get there. A little teaser for next episode. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, please leave a review wherever you listened. I think we're available just about everywhere. The new call to action, I have some written down. I've been inspired
You've
by
been
myself.
workshopping
Yeah,
this?
I've been workshopping some of them. So I'm gonna pull that up real quick and then
Yeah, last time it was kidnap your friends.
yeah, still do that. That's a good idea. Kidnap your friends. Here's a good one. I want you to, if you're in high school or even in college, they probably have a PA system. I want you to sneak into wherever that PA system is, hook your phone up to it, whether that's just playing the podcast out loud or not, and then just play a full episode. You know, lock the doors, keep everybody from coming in, bar it, chain it up, whatever, and just blare that PA system like you're Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption, and just blast some short game long talk podcasts episodes. And eventually there's going to be, if you play it to a whole school of probably like 1,000 kids, there's going to be at least some of them that subscribe. But that's the new call to action. Play it over your school's PA system.
Don't get expelled.
You're not going to get caught. What are you talking about? And also,
Yeah.
I didn't tell you to do this. Just disclaimer, don't actually do this, but do it. But also do it. But yeah, that's going to be our episode. We'll see you guys next time. If you want to follow us on Instagram, that's pretty much the only place we're still active because the social media network formerly known as Twitter is hot garbage. So Instagram is Short Long Pod. We post pretty often there. If you want to be a part of the episode at all, we post questions that will sometimes be answered. And if you ever have an idea for Between the Games, let us know on there. But Jess, do you have anything to close us out?
No, I don't have any closing statements right now.
No closing statements right now. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been Eric.
I'm Jess.
See you next time.
Later. Did I show you my mug?
I would love to see your mug. You did show me your little mushroom mug. I like that little guy. You named him, right?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. It's a good name for a mushroom. That's cute. I like it.
I made a clay hat.
Okay.
And it was actually supposed to be a little face.
Mm-hmm.
And that was supposed to be Jimmy. But the face wasn't turning out right. So I changed it into a little hat and I called it Jimmy's hat. And then my roommate was like, well, who's Jimmy?
Yeah.
And so I bought this mug. I was like, this is Jimmy.
Where's the hat though?
Let me find it. I don't know
I need to see I need to see Jimmy's hat that was alive before Jimmy.
I just cleaned my desk, so I don't know where he went.
He's really small.
Yeah, he's tiny. I have a picture of him.
Okay.
I posted it onto my Instagram.
Then maybe I saw it.
But it was a comedic thing because M was in the background dead. And I think I
remember that now. I think I was more focused on M being dead, if I'm being honest. It took a lot of the focus away from the picture.
I sent it on Snap.
Okay, let me see this. I do remember this. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. That hat does not, I was not concerned with the hat at all. I was concerned with the Family Guy death fall that she's doing in the background. And it just looks like an upside down mushroom on you. So that makes sense. It's Jimmy's hat. Okay.